Welcome back. Today I'm taking a look at the miniature version of the Olight Warrior Mini 3, which is the Olight Warrior Nano. Let's check it out. This is everything the Olight Warrior Nano comes with. Here's the box. Typical Lumens and Runtime info on the back. It comes with Olight's magnetic charger. This is a magnetic mounting bracket for the Olight Warrior Nano. Here's your user manual and safety warning information. But let me put all this off to the side over here, and I'll give you guys a close-up of the new Warrior Nano from Olight. And while you guys are checking this out, let's talk about some of the features. So the Olight Warrior Nano has a maximum output of 1200 lumens, a maximum throwing distance of 135 meters, and a max intensity of 4697 candela. It features 2 mode configurations with 6 brightness levels plus strobe, and those modes are controlled with dual switches, a side switch and a tail switch. Empowering the Warrior Nano is a 3.6 volt, 1100 milliamp hour, 18350 rechargeable lithium-ion battery that can be charged with the included magnetic charger. The body's made from aluminum and available in 2 different colors. The color that I have right here is black. The other color as of right now is a limited edition zombie green. It has an IPX8 waterproof rating. The X means the dust proofing wasn't tested, and the 8 means it's submersible in up to 6 feet of water. It also has a 1.5 meter impact resistance and a 5-year warranty. All right, let's talk dimensions. It has a length of 3.19 inches, a head diameter of 0.91 inches, and a body diameter of 0.91 inches. And according to my weight test, it comes in at 3 ounces. That's 84 grams, and yes, I did weigh it with the battery in it. So as I already mentioned, the Warrior Nano is basically the miniature version of Olight's Warrior Mini 3. And you can absolutely see that. It's like they took the Warrior Mini 3 and just basically cut it right there and made the Warrior Nano. Check that out so you can see the size differences between the Warrior Mini 3 and the Warrior Nano. And other than the length difference, they're virtually identical. Now, I'll give you a look right down the barrel there. That is a cool white emitter on the Warrior Nano. And if I cycle around, the same 2-way pocket clip, and features Olight's newer, larger side switch, the same one we saw on the Warrior 3 right there. And it has Olight's newer tail switch right there as well. And if I want to get really nitpicky here, which I'm going to when I'm talking about the differences, I said they're virtually identical other than the length, but looking at the Warrior Mini 3 right here, it looks like that lens is pushed down just a little bit farther than on the Warrior Nano. The crenellated bezel looks to be about the same, but it looks like it's pushed back just a little bit farther here. And before I move on, I just want to compare it to a couple other Olights just to show you the size of the Warrior Nano. This is the S1R Baton 2. And if I hold these up side by side, you can see the difference right there. So the S1R Baton 2 is much smaller than the Warrior Nano. And this is the Olight Parent Mini 2. Right there, and you can see the size differences there. So even though the Warrior Nano is fairly compact, it's not as compact as these 2 flashlights right here, but it is much smaller than the Olight Warrior Mini 3. And Olight's calling this their smallest, most compact tactical flashlight, which if they're considering this a tactical flashlight, then technically, yes, that's true. And honestly, guys, I just don't see this being a tactical style flashlight, even though it does have some tactical features, meaning it does have instant access to turbo if you switch the configurations around, and it does have instant access to strobe once you go into that second configuration, which I'll show you how all that works when I go over the UI a little bit later on. Let's go over the lumens and runtime. So it has 6 brightness levels plus strobe. So let's start here at that half lumen moonlight, and that's where the Warrior Nano gets that 40-day runtime. So I love seeing a 1 lumen moonlight, but a half lumen is just as good in my opinion. And then there's a 15 lumen low that has a runtime of 36 hours. A 60 lumen medium has a runtime of 10 hours. High is 400 lumens with a 85-minute runtime, and it steps down to 60 lumens and it runs for another 35 minutes. And this is where it gets interesting. It has a half turbo mode. That's 600 lumens that runs for 10 minutes. That steps down to 400 lumens and runs for 75 more minutes. And then turbo, the maximum 1200 lumens, you get a 3-minute runtime, and then it steps down to 400 lumens, and that can run for another 77 minutes. Now, I think the mode spacing from Moonlight to medium is just fine, but I really like this high, half turbo, and turbo modes that Olight has here. The 400 lumen high, which is perfect, you're probably going to spend most of your time in that 400 lumen high. But I think the 600 lumen half turbo here is really cool, and I like the idea of putting that through the tail switch. And when I go over the UI, I'll show you how all that works. I just think it's an interesting idea and how they went about putting that in this flashlight. And there is a strobe feature in this flashlight, but they don't list the lumen output of that strobe anywhere on their website or on the box or in the user manual. So let's go over that UI right now. So everything is controlled with a single side switch right here and a tail switch. So let's start with the side switch here. So it features a full press on, full press off operation. And when it's on, you just press and hold to cycle through those 3 cyclable modes. So there's low, medium, and high. Double press that side switch for the 1200 lumen turbo. And from off, if you press and hold the side switch, that activates the half lumen moonlight mode. It does feature a mode memory. So if I put it on low, click it off, click it back on, it goes right back to low. And a triple click takes you right to strobe. Also, it has a button press lockout. So press and hold the side switch past moonlight for a second. And now it's locked out. That's indicated with that red light right there in the middle of the side switch, which I forgot to mention earlier, but it does have a battery life indicator LED right in the middle of that side switch. It's a 3-light battery light indicator that goes green, orange, and then red. But that red also indicates that it's locked out. So if you want to unlock it, press and hold until moonlight comes back, and now you're unlocked. Now the tail switch. So if you half press and hold that tail switch, it'll take you to momentary medium. So if you let go, it just turns right off, and a full press and hold on that tail switch takes you to half turbo. That's a momentary half turbo. So that is 600 lumens. And that's the momentary half turbo. So if I let it go, it just turns right off. So if you want to keep it constantly on medium, half press really quick and let go. Just like that, there is constant medium. And the same deal with constant half turbo, just give it a full press and let it go quickly. There is constant 600 lumens. And this is what I was talking about where I thought this was interesting because they added a half turbo along with turbo. And for me, this makes much more sense to put a half turbo or another brightness level in the tail switch there, instead of always having turbo in the side switch and then turbo in the tail switch. So I thought that was a really interesting idea. So I can double click to get to turbo, or half turbo, just tail switch. But another thing I like about that system is Olight included dual configurations here. So if you don't like having a half turbo in the tail switch, you can actually change that to turbo if you want. How you change that is you have to slap on the magnetic charger and then press and hold the side switch like you're locking it out. After you do that, you change the modes from half turbo to turbo in the tail switch. So that's one tactical feature that they added to the Warrior Nano, is now you have instant access to turbo instead of double pressing. Technically, yes, that is instant access, but a full press on the tail switch, to me, that's true instant access. And they also included instant access to strobe. And if you guys have the Warrior Mini 3, you could do the same thing on this flashlight. So what you want to do is press and hold that tail switch and then tap the side switch right there until it starts to strobe. Now you have instant access to strobe when you full press that tail switch right there. So a very quick and easy way to switch configurations right there. And to get it back, just do the exact same thing. Press and hold, tap that side switch, and it goes right back to either half turbo or turbo. So as easy as this user interface is, at least Olight gave us some configurable features. All right, now it's time for my not so scientific heat and turbo test, but this time I'm not gonna do the heat test, only because this is only a 1200 lumen flashlight. It doesn't get hot at all. I've been using this on and off for the last week or so, and this flashlight, yeah, it gets a little bit warm on turbo, but I don't think it's enough for me to do a heat test and go through all that trouble, just because I've been using this on turbo with no gloves. And like I said, it gets a little bit warm, but not hot at all. And regarding the step down from turbo, I let the flashlight run for about 3 minutes, only because Olight claims that it gets 3 minutes worth of 1200 lumens. And when I'm filming this, I can't really tell when it starts to step down. So I usually do it when I'm editing. So right now I'll pop up on the screen when it started to step down from turbo and when it ended the step down from turbo. All right, let's do the beam test. I'm going to start right on that 15 lumen low because that moonlight half lumen moonlight wouldn't show up on camera. So there is low. All right. Not kissing that tree at all. Let's move on to medium. All right. Now I'm starting to get a little piece of that tree right there. And just getting the reflector over there on the barn. So nothing really yet, but you can start to see that beam pattern right there on the ground. You can see it's going to have a pretty nice beam spread. Check that out. So not extremely floody, but it's wide enough. You can start to see that hot spot right there. And then there is high. Now we're starting to get that tree. And I'll put up the distance between me and that tree right there. Me and the barn. There we go. Take it away. Now we're starting to get the barn. So that's the high mode right there. So let's go low, medium, high, and then let's go to turbo. Boom, 1200 lumens. And look at that. Pretty good. So what is this, 4697 candela right there at the hot spot? Pretty good for a compact, small little flashlight of this size. And doesn't have a super crispy outer perimeter, but it is fairly wide. So I'm looking, let me just pan left to right and leave the flashlight still. You can see how wide that beam spread is. Not bad. So that's 1200 lumen turbo. Let me show you guys the tail switch. So half press is medium, and then a full press let go. Now this is the 600 lumen half turbo. All right. So half turbo, let's do that. Half turbo and then full turbo. So not bad. Not bad. You can see it does have a cool white beam, 5700 to 6700 probably. I don't know for a fact, but that's just my best guess just by looking at the color. But let's move on to the next location here. All right, so the Warrior Nano, not a bad little compact everyday carry flashlight. I'm going to call this an EDC flashlight. Olight's calling it their compact tactical flashlight. Like I said, technically it does have some tactical features such as instant access to turbo and instant access to strobe. But in my opinion, a tactical flashlight should have some self-defense capabilities, and honestly, it's just too small for that. If you're considering strobe a self-defense feature, then sure, which it is, but There are so many other tactical flashlights out there. I just don't see the need to carry something this small as a tactical flashlight. But as an EDC flashlight, I think it's great. As you saw outside, the 1200 lumens is just fine. In fact, 1200 lumens in this small body is pretty impressive. Operating this flashlight is a breeze. You have this fairly large side button and Olight's new tail switch right there. And let me tell you, I do like the idea of putting the half turbo in the tail switch there, and the different configurable modes as well. If you want instant access to strobe or turbo, you can put those in the tail switch if you want. So I really like that idea, and I hope Olight continues doing that with future releases. Also, as of right now, this is only available in 2 colors, so I hope Olight releases new colors in the future, which we all know they're going to. And it's only available in the cool white emitter right now, so I want to see a neutral white Warrior Nano in the future as well. But overall, I think it's a decent little compact 1200 lumen flashlight. It's definitely a solid choice if you're looking for something this compact. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. What do you think of the Olight Warrior Nano? If you want to check this out for yourself, I will put links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe and go.